Hi everyone, Ohayo gozaimasu. Welcome! This channel is for Japanese learners of English. Kiyomo shadowing no lesson wo yarakimashou. Listen to today's real native conversation. Focus on the rhythm and shadow along. Practice daily to master tango, bunpao, hatsuan, and rhythm. Repeat and try again tomorrow if needed. Zehi. Channel no toroku wo onegai shimasu. Okay, are you ready? Here we go.
Ever been on a call where you just couldn't hear the other person? It's so frustrating, right? What do you even say? You can't just stay silent.
Oh, totally. It's like they're talking from the other side of the world, and you're just there straining to hear, like, what is it even now? Well, there's actually a bunch of ways to ask someone to speak up, and you can go from polite to, well, a little more direct.
Yeah, like where do you even start? I mean, you don't want to sound rude, but you do need to hear what they're saying, right?
Exactly. So the most common and polite way is, could you speak a little louder, please? It is pretty simple, straightforward, and gets the message across.
That's a good one. What if you need it a little more urgent? I mean, some folks just mumble.
Then you can say, could you speak up, please? It's a bit more direct, but still very polite. And if you're on a call and it's really hard to hear, you can say, I'm having a hard time hearing you. Could you speak a bit louder? It makes them aware that it's on their end, not yours.
That makes sense. It sort of puts the ball in their court, you know? But I bet there are times where you're in a more casual situation, like talking to a friend on the phone, right?
Yeah, totally. Then you might say something like, can you speak louder? Or, can you speak more loudly? Both work. Just one uses more and both get the message across. You could even go a little shorter with a please speak louder if you are familiar with the person.
Oh, okay. So it's like the shorter the sentence, the more informal it gets.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And if you want to be even more polite, you could ask, would you mind speaking a little louder? That's a very gentle way of asking.
Nice. I can imagine using that with a client or something. What about if someone has a really soft voice?
Well, there are a few ways to deal with that, too. You could try, could you raise your voice? Or please raise your voice. It's direct, but it works. Or you can even say, can you project your voice more? Which is a more nuanced way of asking them to speak up.
Project your voice more. That's a good one. Sounds very professional. And it makes sense. What about if you are in a noisy place and the person can barely hear you?
Well, you could say, I can barely hear you, to let them know it's hard to hear, and then follow it with a request like, could you speak up a little, please? Or would you mind speaking a bit louder? It just adds a touch of politeness, like not all their fault.
Right. It's like saying, hey, I'm having a hard time. Can you help a bit? How about in more of a business setting?
In a business call, it's important to be professional and clear. Could you speak a little more loudly? Is a great option. It's very polite, but still very direct. Please speak a little more loudly. Also works very well. Both are effective in making the other person aware that they need to speak up, and it also expresses that you have a need.
Got it. So it's all about being clear and respectful, regardless of the situation, right? It all comes down to that.
Exactly. You could even add, sorry, but I can barely hear you, to explain that there's a need. You don't want to make them feel bad, but you also need to hear.
All right, we've finished today's lesson. How did you find it? 理解できない部分はありませんでしたか? Repeat and try again tomorrow if needed. Please let me know your kansa or request in the comments. ぜひチャンネルの登録をお願いします. I look forward to seeing you all again soon. See you next time. Bye bye.